Hi, HRN listeners. We're celebrating our 15th anniversary, and we have a really fun campaign and an ask for you. This 15th anniversary tour is aiming to bring you closer to unique food and music experiences in some of the most exciting cities in America. All the while, we're raising funds to support our work empowering the next generation of food system storytellers through our fellowship programs. Here's how it works. Donate to HRN and be entered into a raffle in the city of your choice to win a dinner for two at a noteworthy restaurant and tickets for two to a concert at a prominent local venue. We have incredible partners in New York, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Nashville, Las Vegas, Charleston, Asheville, and Ardmore, Pennsylvania, who have donated a meal for two and two tickets to a concert of the winner's choice. And all donations help fund our fellowship programs, where we're helping to build essential workforce readiness skills and food system storytelling skills. Check out heritageradionetwork.org/15 to donate and enter to win today. That's heritageradionetwork.org/15. Thank you.
Today's program has been brought to you by Heritage Foods USA, the nation's largest distributor of heritage breed pigs and turkeys. For more information, visit heritagefoodsusa.com. You're listening to Heritage Radio Network, broadcasting live from Bushwick, Brooklyn. If you like this program, visit heritageradionetwork.org for thousands more.
Hello, planet Earth, and welcome to Fuhmentaboudit on heritageradionetwork.org. My name is Chris Kuzmi.
And I'm Mary Izette.
And this is a podcast focusing on all things fermentable.
Focusing on homebrewing, of course. Today we've got a really exciting program. So we're going to talk to
Danielle Regan,
yes,
who is a certified holistic health coach and the creator of theskinnyspoon.com, which is a food blog focusing on alternative foods and preparation. We're going to discuss the health benefits of fermented foods and beverages, and also, in particular, kombucha.
Yeah, and we're going to talk later. We're going to end the program talking about how to culture your own SCOBY.
And how it pertains to beer.
Yeah.
But before that, there are a couple of events coming up here in New York. If you're in the New York area, I want to reiterate focus on our friend Sean Torres from Poor Standards in Staten Island is doing a benefit in December. Go to pourtorestore.com. There will be a bunch of homebrew served at this thing for relief efforts from Sandy in Staten Island. It's going to be a great thing. Also, there's some new things happening at Brooklyn
Homebrew.
And
yeah, so Brooklyn Homebrew is a local homebrew store in the Gowanus area of Brooklyn. It's on 8th Street between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Great homebrew store owned by Danielle and Benjamin. So they've got a couple of new products out. One of the things we're gonna do is last week we talked about Brooklyn Brew Shop's new kits, and today we're gonna talk about what's going on at Brooklyn Homebrew. We'll probably pick up bitter and esters, and we're gonna go forward so you guys that at homebrew out there know what's available to you that's new.
And no matter where you are in the country, actually, Brooklyn Homebrew just started delivering to wherever you're shipping to wherever you need it. So
yeah, they have a warehouse and a full online store. So they have a Bushwick Brown Ale kit. Coincidentally, we're live in Bushwick, Brooklyn right now. So this is an American brown that's hoppy but balanced. And they have 3 new hops. They have a hop that's called Belma. I've actually only heard of one of these hops. So Belma, it's 12 to 13% alpha acid, very clean hop with notes of tropical fruit, orange, strawberry, and melon. You can use it dual purpose, both aroma, flavor, and bittering. That sounds really, really good. We have to go pick some of that up this week. They also have a Columbia hop. It's 7 to 8% alpha acid. It's a pungent hop with a clean aroma, similar to Centennial and Chinook. And then lastly, they have a new Legacy hop. It's 8 to 9% alpha acids, also a dual-purpose hop. They say it has notes of citrus, grapefruit, and black currant.
Sounds awesome. I'm excited about that. They're great people. Call them up if you have any question about homebrewing. They're always around and able to do that stuff. But our friend today, Danielle Regan, first met Danielle, actually, the proprietor of Jimmy's Number 43, who is also the host of Beer Sessions Radio, introduced me to Danielle at at Jimmy's, and we became great friends. And lo and behold, she knows a lot about fermented stuff, and she's got her blog, theskinnyspoon.com. Hi, Danielle.
Hello. How are you?
Oh, wait, we have to do a disclaimer.
Oh, we're not. Okay, yes.
Yeah, we'll just get this out of the way. All right. So we have to say that the information shared on this show on the benefits kombucha and all the other fermented stuff we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only. So just keep in mind that these health benefit statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. It's not medical advice, and it's not intended to replace the advice of healthcare professionals. So we're merely having an educational discussion here.
That's right. And thanks for listening.
Yeah.
On heritageradionetwork.org. So what is your story, Daniel? How did you come to know so much about fermented foods? How did you decide to become a holistic health coach? Who are you?
Well, I worked in the fashion industry for 6 years, and I originally came to New York specifically for that purpose. So what happened is I became really tired and very stressed out, and I was looking for an answer. There wasn't enough sleep in the world to cure my tiredness. There wasn't enough I think, yoga to relieve my anxiety, so I started looking into alternative ways. So I actually discovered a program that's called the Clean Program, and it's a cleanse that's based on like a 3-week program of eliminating caffeine, sugar, gluten, and other things along those lines. And you essentially kind of eliminate all allergens from your diet and then introduce everything one by one. That way you can find out your sensitivities and kind of rebuild your life from the bottom up. During that time, I actually discovered the importance of probiotics and the importance of having a healthy intestinal tract. So along with that came educating myself on fermented foods and kombucha. So I, during that cleanse, was able to meet the author, the CFO, the CEO, and the Clean team, which was amazing. And they kind of showed me the way and helped educate me a bit more, and they were really amazing people. So they also had a few people who had talked to me about going to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, which is where I received my certification for holistic health coaching. So that's pretty much how I got into this.
So what do you do as a holistic health coach?
Well, I work with everybody that's my client to provide mind and body wellness. We look at your stressors, your family life, and time that you can take with yourself. And I do a 6-month program. And we meet twice a month and for 6 months, and we work together to incorporate more greens and look at your stressors and different dietary needs and kind of work together to create a mind-body wellness program so that you can feel your best and look your best and live the best life possible.
Awesome.
Things changed a lot for you when you started doing all these things, and you said a lot for your mood. Yeah, you came in prepared with a top 10 list, which is the top 10 benefits of kombucha in particular.
Yes, right. I did quite a bit of research on the internet and as well as watching different food documentaries and reading multiple books and magazine articles, and so I compiled a top 10 list of kombucha health benefits, and once again, these are not intended to replace medical advice from your doctor, but experiences and education that I've learned from my research.
Hold on, wait, we keep talking about kombucha, but what is kombucha? Yeah. Maybe we should start there real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we should backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's, it's pretty hip right now, but, there are a lot of people that don't drink it. So actually, I just poured an organic raw kombucha from GT's Enlightened for the three of us to drink while we're discussing kombucha. So cheers.
Cheers. I love this brand.
I do too. So what is kombucha? It's basically a fermented tea. And Danielle and I were talking about before the show, like I know a little bit about it. I think it's rumored to have been originated in China, Asia. And I thought it had been around for well over 1,000 years. Danielle said it's probably like a couple thousand years. So it's this is not like a new hipster drink. This is something that's been around for a very, very long time all over the world. And you were actually telling me about some other countries that were doing some studies.
Yeah, Russia and Germany. They kind of caught on. They realized in different regions that there was a very low cancer rate. And so the Russians looked into it and started doing some studies and actually found that the antioxidants and the B vitamins and the bacteria strains that were found in the kombucha were beneficial in reducing your cancer rates. Along with that, the German scientists had picked up on that information and launched their own study and basically found the same findings. So it didn't come into the U.S. until 1990, and there's been very few studies in the U.S., but over in Europe, it's very popular and known to be a health benefit drink.
It's also delicious.
So it's a fermented tea, and it's I don't know if for those of you who have not had it. So we're drinking an original, just straight up kombucha. I also picked up the GT's Enlightened, the hibiscus number 7. So you can buy them flavored with both fruits and vegetables, herbs and spices. We'll talk a little bit later, as we said, about doing it at home, but. It's slightly tart and sour. If you make it yourself, you can control that completely. I think a lot of the ones that are commercially available to us are more balanced.
Yeah, they're more mild, for sure.
Yeah. And, very refreshing. I think this is a super summer drink.
This is perceptibly sweet to me.
Yeah, it is. It is sweet, too.
Is
It's fermented sweet tea.
Yes, and it has a slight effervescence, which is wonderful.
Well.
Okay, so let's talk about... besides it being delicious, some of the rumored health benefits of kombucha.
Okay, so first of all, kombucha improves digestion. That's the number one, I think, that I'd like to focus on. Because of the probiotics that can be found in the bacterial strains, it actually helps you break down, assimilate, and absorb food differently. So essentially, if you're having some sort of issue being tired or like you feel like you're iron deficient or, overall like you feel like you have a deficiency in vitamins at all, if you start drinking kombucha, it's going to help your bacterial strength within your digestive system grow. And therefore, it's going to help you, absorb the minerals and the nutrients differently. So you're going to feel a lot better from the food that you're eating.
And let's also, so this brings to mind a relevant topic. So I have a science background, and recently I've been reading Sander Elix Katz, his new fermentation, or this year's fermentation book. But one thing that most people don't know is that we have a ton of, we coexist with bacteria in our body. So we have good bacteria and bad bacteria. I mean, that's why, when you catch a strep or something, that's a bad bacteria. But we could not live without this good bacteria. And we have a ton of bacteria in our intestinal system that help us digest food. And like Danielle said, to absorb the vitamins and break food down and that kind of stuff. So just as a background, bacteria is not always a bad thing. It's also a very, very good thing. And how much, you said?
It's about 5 pounds of bacteria beneficial to the absorption and assimilation of your food within each person's digestive tract.
Yeah, amazing.
5 pounds of bacteria just in the digestive tract.
Yes.
Yep.
And the importance of feeding it good cultures like kombucha is that you keep it on the positive side versus the negative side. When you have the negative side of bacteria, you're going to be toxic and you're going to get sick and your immune system is going to be affected.
Yeah, and I think actually something also that I read in Sander Elix Katz's new book, which we'll have a link to on our website. So we'll put on Fuhmentaboudit.com, we're going to have a link to Danielle's website as well as the kombucha. And everything that we talk about, we'll have links to, so you guys can find out this really easily. But another thing he was saying is that actually there was a study done that showed, because antibiotics, although they kill bad bacteria, they also kill good bacteria.
And it causes to an overgrowth of candida in most Americans.
Yes, which is unpleasant for those of us that have experienced it. And I think... and actually they had done a study recently and found that antibiotics can actually impair your good bacteria for up to 2 years after taking them. I mean, that's something I had no idea. I mean, I never, I always feel not good after antibiotics. But I didn't realize 2 years, that's a long time.
Yep.
So anyway, back to kombucha. We just wanted to give you a little background about, good bacteria, bad bacteria, all that stuff.
Delicious bacteria.
Like this.
Bacteria. So kombucha improves the digestion. It's also an alkalized food. So when you ingest it, there's alkaline foods and acidic foods. Mostly you want your body to be alkaline. It prohibits the growth of bad bacteria. And it's beneficial to creating a balance, a homeostasis, the yin and the yang, I guess you could say, within the body, which is, more Asian medicine inspired. But it is important, and I think the more you look into it, the more you realize that it is very important to have a balance within everything. So it also reduces the workload for the pancreas because it has naturally digestive enzymes and acids in there. So that's my number one tip for kombucha's health-related benefits.
All right.
Awesome. And I will say, regardless of, we talk, like I'm actually going to looking at the nutrition facts on this bottle of GT's Enlightened Organic Raw Kombucha. And, besides the fact that it has these antioxidants and organic acids and also probiotics, a bunch of bacillus, it also, it has a lot of vitamins. Danielle mentioned this earlier, but it's got a lot of vitamins in this bottle. So regardless of what your stance is on probiotics, drinking a bottle of kombucha is delicious and also provides a decent amount of your recommended dietary allowance in vitamins. Folic acid, it's got B2, B6, B1, B3, and B12.
Now, that's all totally naturally made, so if I were to make this at home, I would get the same vitamin and neutral.
Probably,
same benefits.
Depends on your SCOBY culture and also your tea blend and how much sugar you use.
Yeah, absolutely. But those are all byproducts of this process, so of the fermentation process.
Well, I want to learn how to make it, and so we're going to take a short little break, and when we come back, we're going to find out how to get it ourselves. Thanks for listening to Fuhmentaboudit on heritageradionetwork.org.
So you got yourself a hurricane running through your brain, driving you crazy, all for no campaign, like a red-eyed wild stallion, hell-bent to win, a battle with no winners, a war with no end, on the banks.
Like what you hear so far? Support the network and become a member. Membership helps us bring you the best food radio in the world and gives you access to thousands of dollars in discounts at the sustainably minded businesses that support us. To become a member, visit heritageradionetwork.org today. Today's program has been brought to you by Heritage Foods USA. Heritage Foods USA exists to promote genetic diversity, small family farms, and a fully traceable food supply. We're committed to making wholesome, delicious, and sustainably produced heritage foods available to all Americans. In doing so, we will foster the link between sustainable land use, small-scale food production, and preservation of the foods of past generations for future generations. For more information and to order today, visit www.heritagefoods.usa.com.
Welcome back, Planet Earth, to Fuhmentaboudit on heritageradionetwork.org. Mara Izette, in the house we have Danielle Regan. We're about to talk about how to make kombucha, of which I know very little about. I have never done it. I'm very excited to be here with two of you who have both done it, and one of you has done it more than the other. But I want to know how to do it. So we can. This is the fungus. This is the bacteria. What?
Yeah. So okay.
We're gonna grab.
So we were just talking about
culture.
this. So you actually start so when you brew beer, you start with usually yeast, sometimes a mix of yeast and bacteria. With kombucha, you're starting with what's called a SCOBY. It's capital SCOBY, and that's an acronym that stands for Symbiotic Culture of Bacteria and Yeast. So that's what we're going to talk. So actually, let's talk about how to culture your own kombucha. It's really, really easy to do. Let me bring up my exact measurements so I can tell you guys right. So I did this. This is actually how I got the SCOBY that I keep at home. So Chris says,
which smells very bizarre.
Yes.
It looks like a jellyfish.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you
that
my SCOBY has been kind of in hibernation. I have not been actively keeping up my kombucha, but I just moved in with Chris recently, and it actually survived the move. I actually packed it in a box, and it survived the man with the van move. I opened this box, and it's completely. It was a little vinegary, but
pretty red.
It did. Yeah, it was not a it was not a water tight vessel that I carried it in, but it's ready to go. So we're going to start some kombucha.
Hold on, go back. Well, I know we'll get to that point, but it wasn't a watertight vessel. Is that okay? Like in beer, we want things that are tight. We don't want anything getting in there.
No, that's totally okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's talk about how to get your own kombucha SCOBY, because that was one of the things. I mean, unless you have friends that are making, kombucha, it's a little bit hard to get your hands on SCOBY. You have to order it online, and that just seems wrong. Like, kombucha is something you should be able to make easily. So I actually started with what we're drinking, this GT's Enlightened Organic Raw Kombucha. I think the cool thing about this is you pick this up, so you can buy this in a lot of health food stores. Whole Foods carries it. It's pretty common in New York City. You pick this bottle up, and you can actually see there's floaties in the bottom. So the one I got, it says enjoy by 12/27, so I knew it was really fresh. I looked it up. You want to get the freshest you can. And you pick that up. You're going to take it home. You're going to basically make a sweet black tea. So what I did with mine is I used a ratio of, a tablespoon of black tea. I had just had a loose black tea. It doesn't really matter. I would recommend starting with black tea to get your SCOBY going. You can experiment with different teas later. So 1 tablespoon of black tea to a cup of water. Now, it's recommended that I think I made my black tea first and then added a tablespoon. But if you want to be nice and somewhat sanitary, go ahead and dissolve your sugar. So it's a tablespoon of sugar in a cup of water. Dissolve that, bring it to a boil, and then make your black tea with that. So you want to start with about a cup of sweet black tea. You're going to let that cool to room temperature. And then you're going to pour it into a glass jar. I used a glass jar. I should have measured it before I came here. I actually got this at like one of my local, dollar stores that are everywhere in Brooklyn, for like $2. And it's wide mouth, so the mouth is the same diameter as the body, so it's easy to get in and out to like mess with. So I washed that with soap and water. I actually had some Star San, some home brewing sanitizer, which I use. That is not necessary. Just make sure that it's clean. So what you're going to do is you're going to pour your room temperature sweet black tea into that. You're going to add your room temperature bottle of kombucha with your little floaties on the bottom. I'd say you could drink a little of it if you wanted. Yeah, I mean, the full bottle.
Pour it out first.
Yeah, the full bottle. Yeah, pour it out first. Don't drink it from the bottle. I mean, it's better just because there's a lot of active culture in that. That liquid as well.
This active culture, would it die if you put it in the hot water? Like what's it?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay. It would be pasteurization almost.
Yeah,
for it.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think you don't want to boil it. Just like you want to treat it with respect, like you would bread yeast or any kind of yeast. So basically, you just mix those two together. You're going to put muslin or a couple layers of cheesecloth, some kind of fabric to keep out fruit flies and other kinds of flies, and secure it. I just put I had a piece of muslin fabric and a rubber band. And then you also want to keep it in the dark. Like, don't leave it out in the sun. It loves temperatures between 70 and 80 degrees. And again, it doesn't like sunlight. So I put mine in like a warm spot in my apartment and covered it with like an old t-shirt. So the growth of your culture, the number one factor in the growth rate of your SCOBY is temperature. So if you have it at 80 degrees, you're probably going to get a SCOBY pretty darn fast. Mine was, I did this earlier this year, and my apartment was a little bit cool, so it took a while, but at 5 weeks, I had a banging SCOBY, like beautiful. And I actually did a write-up this on my blog, and we're going to put a link to it with photos and everything, so you guys can feel confident in culturing your own SCOBY. So we'll add a link to that to Fuhmentaboudit.com. But basically, go ahead.
How would this ever go wrong?
It could go wrong. I mean, I guess if it went too low,
what are the no-nos?
Yeah, or maybe.
Well, you have to have enough sugar to feed the bacteria.
That's true.
And you also want to make sure that the jar is sanitized to reduce your risk of having any sort of bad bacteria. But I believe that I read somewhere that it's not a direct quote, but the maker of Brooklyn Kombucha actually said people have been making it in much dirtier places for over 2,000 years and have yet to be sick from it. So
beer too, but it just can be more delicious, more sanitary.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think if you're watching your SCOBY, so what you're going to see is it's kind of hard to describe, but it's like this gelatinous mass that forms at the top, the diameter of your jar. You don't, if there's obvious mold or like black spots or fuzzy stuff, you don't want to use it. But otherwise, it's very easy. I've had many friends that have also cultured, successfully cultured their scobies and not had any problems. So it is really easy. You want to treat it with respect, but it's certainly not as strict a process as brewing beer, I would say. So let's go back to, I'm going to open, I got this hibiscus number 7 from GT, so I'm going to open this so we can try it. So let's go back to some of the other health benefits that Danielle was talking about.
Okay, great.
Ooh, this is ferment. This is carbonated.
I have exploded more of those bottles on myself. I've smelled vinegary on the subway for hours upon end from drinking too much kombucha. So we already did number 1. The kombucha improves general digestion with the probiotics and naturally occurring acids. Number 2 is that it helps with weight loss. Now, this is debatable. I think if you replace soda, sugary drinks, and other things along those lines with kombucha, clearly you're going to lose weight because it actually is low calorie and it's very good for you. But it helps you assimilate the absorption of food, and also for people that are underweight, they tend to gain weight because of that. For people that are overweight, you might lose weight because it's helping you pass through things. It's helping you build the bacterial system. It's helping you eliminate and detoxify your liver. It's helping you break down the food so that way you can digest it properly and get it out of your body. Number 3 is that it reduces stress levels. Green tea essentially has the highest levels of theanine, but black tea also contains it. It's been shown to increase serotonin levels, reduce the pain effects of fibromyalgia, anxiety, and depression. And some people say that drinking kombucha before bed helps with your sleep because of the serotonin levels and reducing the anxiety. And I have not had that work for me. So that is word of mouth. You give it a try and let me know. Number 4 is it restores your energy. Tea does contain naturally about a third of the caffeine of coffee. The fermentation actually breaks down some of that caffeine, so it actually is less than a third compared to coffee. But it's a natural source of B vitamins, which a lot of people diminish from too much stress, and it detoxifies the liver. So essentially, kombucha can act as a Gatorade after a workout as well because the natural sugars that are occurring in there. So it can also be used as an energy drink in that way. Number 5 increases your immune system because you're digesting better, you're eliminating toxins from your liver and your bowels, and you're lowering your stress. So number 6 relieves constipation. Nobody likes to talk about this, but everybody poops.
What?
True.
It aids in digestion. So once again, it relieves your constipation because it's moving through your body. It contains the natural acids, so you're breaking down foods. So one of the best things that you can do is after drinking a bottle of kombucha is drink the same exact amount of water immediately after.
Oh, yeah.
It helps hydrate your body. It helps move everything through. So essentially, you are getting the acids to break down the foods, you're moving it through, you're eliminating both in solid waste and in urine. Number 7, this is going to be a favorite. It has been shown to be a hangover cure.
Hey, all right.
How many people are going to go out and get a bottle tomorrow? It contains sugar, so again, it gives you a bit of energy, a little kick to energy, and that's also hydrating and has naturally occurring electrolytes, and it detoxifies your liver. So again, it's taking all the naughty stuff that's in there from the night before and pushing it out of your body.
That's awesome. What if you drink it at the same time as drinking beer?
Well, that would probably be a double benefit.
Yes.
It's instead of
double happiness.
Fixing the aftermath, you're being, I guess, like a little bit on point about making sure that you don't feel the after effects of too much beer drinking.
It's always good to do everything in moderation regardless. Let's all
Exactly.
keep that in mind.
Exactly. So yeah, you shouldn't be drinking kombucha, 10 times a day, every day. This is like, besides the fact that it would get wildly expensive if you bought it in the store, you're probably as a home brewer not going to be able to produce enough to consume that much per day.
Right.
So everything in moderation, yes. Number 8 is that it cleanses the liver again. So that has gluconic acid, which is broken down into powerful antifungals, which helps fight candida. It's actually been shown that there's a major issue with the American population because of the overuse of antibiotics, that candida is within each and every one of us. It's, for women, yeast infections, but within men as well. Babies, they call it thrush.
Right.
So the best way to fight that is with grapefruit seed extract and kombucha.
Okay, wait, we got to do the last 2 quick.
Okay.
We're running out of time.
Number 9, it improves the skin. You can use it as a topical ointment for eczema and use it as an astringent. And number 10, it can actually bring back your hair color, apparently, if you're graying.
Wow.
Hey, all right.
I need to drink more kombucha. So, as a wrap up, we didn't really talk about how to make kombucha, but it's very easy to make. It's basically the same process that you use to culture. I think the best free resource out there is from a website called Cultures for Health, and they have a free ebook called Learn to Make Kombucha. It's an amazing book. It tells you everything you've ever wanted to know about how to make kombucha. It goes through all the variations. Chris and I are going to revisit this on another show. So we're going to talk about how to make it at home, all the variations, how to add, how to make flavored kombucha. We also are going to talk about how to...
We're going to get to blending it with beer. I keep driving towards that because one of our favorite beers is called Lambrucha.
Yeah. Delicious.
By Van Bergendolf, and it's an amazing beer. Hopefully we'll have them on as guests to talk about kind of where they came up with it and how they do it. But if there's an assignment for all you listeners, start making some kombucha, and then we'll make a small beer, and then we'll start blending and having fun.
Yeah, and the other thing is, which we had talked about earlier, Danielle and I were talking about earlier off the air, is that kombucha, the advantage of making kombucha at home is that it's very inexpensive. I think you were saying less than 50 cents a gallon.
Yes.
I mean, it's just sweet tea and your kombucha SCOBY. So as long as you maintain it,
How long does it take to make a good kombucha?
At least 2 weeks to get your SCOBY, I think, formed into a thin layer.
Yeah, and then again, it's temperature dependent. So if your apartment or house is warmer, it will go through the fermentation process a little faster. So it's really one of those things where you just want to taste it as you go.
So if you have a big SCOBY, you can make a lot more. If you have a small SCOBY, you can make a little bit.
If you have a
but
big
it keeps growing.
SCOBY, you can share with friends.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes baby SCOBYs along the way that you can peel off and give to your friends. So that's something to keep in mind.
And
before we wrap up, we want to hear from you guys. So please feel free to email us at fuhmentaboudit@gmail.com. That's FUHMENTABOUDIT. Ooh, that's a mouthful. Or follow us on Twitter at Fuhmentaboudit. We're going to try to, we've been a little Twitter shy lately, but we're going to get on the ball. We're working on our website at fuhmentaboudit.com.
Linkable through heritageradionetwork.org.
Absolutely.
And we are going with that. Thank you for listening. Danielle, Regan, thank you so much.
Yes.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Please
for having
visit theskinny-spoon.com to find more about Danielle's adventure. Thanks to Jack Inslee, our producer.
And
to
we'll
Mary
talk to you
Annette.
next Monday.
That's right. Fuhmentaboudit over here. Fuhmentaboudit.
Thanks for listening to this program on heritageradionetwork.org. You can find all of our archived programs on our website or as podcasts in the iTunes Store by searching Heritage Radio Network. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at @heritage_radio. You can email us questions at any time at info@heritageradionetwork.org. Heritage Radio Network is a non-profit organization. To donate and become a member, visit our website today. Thanks for listening.
Hey there, I'm Lee Ullman here with some big news from the National Young Farmers Coalition. We're partnering with Heritage Radio Network on a special season of The Farm Report. It's all about what's happening with the Farm Bill and how it impacts farmers and eaters.
I am growing diversified vegetables on land that's been in our family for 150 years.
And so with the pandemic, gentrification, property values going up, we had to sell the land and we lost it.
Join us as we uncover the untold stories behind this massive piece of legislation that shapes how we grow our food, what we eat, and so much more.
The problems we have had, those are things that come from earlier Farm Bill and USDA policy, right? Like Earl Butts, get big or get out.
It's my responsibility to know not only what I'm eating, but then like how that all came to be, and realize like, wow, like this piece of legislation, all this money, like it's technically something that I support as a taxpayer.
While Congress debates the next Farm Bill, this is not just an invitation to listen. It's a call to action. Be part of the conversation. Subscribe to the Farm Report on Heritage Radio Network, wherever you listen to podcasts.